All right, history has been made today. It's a historic day in Nigeria, a day of celebration and national pride.
On this day in 1999, Nigeria returned to democratic governance after 16 years of military rule. Then it was Chief Olusegun Obasanjo who took the oath of office, which he repeated in 2003 for a second term.
All right, in 2007, Umar Musa Yar'Adua was sworn in, and in 2011, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan took his turn after completing the tenure of his late boss and winning the next election. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari had his first shot in 2015, and then now, when he takes the oath of office today at the Eagle Square in Abuja. It will mark 20 years of unbroken democracy or democratic rule, the longest democratic dispensation since Nigeria gained independence in 1960.
These past 20 years of democratic rule, 16 of them have been under the People's Democratic Party. The last 4 years have been under the All Progressives Congress, and so will the next 4 years. This year's inauguration is also symbolic, especially for the president, because this makes him the second president in Nigeria's democratic history to have secured a second term in office.
And now, in spite of the successes of the past 20 years in sustaining democracy, Nigeria's democratic journey is still facing a lot of hurdles, from widespread insecurity to corruption to unemployment and infrastructure deficit.
All right, joining us to discuss is a policy analyst and a public affairs analyst, Taiwo Kunu. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
All right, let's quickly get to Abuja to speak with our correspondent, senior correspondent, Ayodele Ozugnbakun. Ayo, we see it seems activities have kicked off at the Eagle Square.
He has attended the Police Detective College, Enugu counter-terrorist training at Kano.
The venue of the 2019 inauguration. That is the second term inauguration of President Muhammadu Buhari. And what we have here is, according to this manifest, this book we have here, the event is meant to start in earnest by 8 a.m. or started in earnest by 8 a.m. At about now, what they have now is the arrival of members of diplomatic corps, head of service of the Federation, and members of the National Assembly and the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress. Any moment from now, we shall be witnessing the arrival of former head of state and president in Nigeria. This will precede the arrival of the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the Senate President. But what we have here is something that the federal government described as a low-key inauguration, and it is no longer Democracy Day. As you know, we now have June 12 for Democracy Day, but one thing is certain here: President Muhammadu Buhari is going to take his oath of office any moment from 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. this morning, and it will be sworn in for his official second term. And today also marks 20 years of unbroken democratic process in Nigeria. So we're celebrating 20 years of democracy since 1999. This is about the longest time we've had democracy in Nigeria since 1960. And I also have my colleague here, Femi Akande. Femi Akande, 20 years of democracy.
Yes, indeed, it's 20 years of unbroken democracy. This is this is worth celebrating. But for the federal government, this is not Democracy Day, like you said. But everything is being put in place. The I's are being dotted, the T's are crossed to ensure that this inauguration, where the president and the vice president will take the oath of office, to ensure that everything goes according to plan. It has to be orderly. Earlier on, we have seen the formation of the Guard of Honor. They have done a brief march past, and they are all in position, awaiting the arrival of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, alongside the vice president, to take their oath of office. And this whole perimeter is well secured. Gaining access to this place, you know, is not a mean feat. It's not easy. Even with your accreditation, the level of screening you are subjected to really shows how prepared the security agencies are to ensure that the secured, and we have a peaceful atmosphere for the success of this presidential inauguration.
It drizzled earlier today,
Yeah,
and
wet Wednesday.
Yes, and the weather is very good, very cool, and a different departure from what we had yesterday. So, and we also expect that the president will be making his maiden inauguration speech.
Yes, people are looking forward to this speech because everyone wants to hear what the president has got to say. There are a lot of things to talk about. There are issues, and you know the president has always hinged his campaign on security, the economy, and corruption. And we expect him to still talk on this and to re-emphasize his commitment to tackling these issues. You remember his inaugural speech in 2015. The takeaway was, I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody. So people will be paying attention to his inaugural speech this time around to see what they can take away from this. And I believe the president's handlers have prepared a good speech because Nigerians are waiting to hear what the president has to say.
All right.
Yes, Mike.
Ayo, we can see earlier on we were seeing an array of dignitaries who were there to grace the event today. Can you run us through who is available, who is on ground, and who is attending this ceremony today?
Mike, I can tell you that some states will not be having inauguration today. States like Ondo State, state like Kogi State, state like Bayelsa State, state like Anambra State, and some of those states that they have their governors as governors from the All Progressive Congress. I've seen Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu earlier. I've seen the governor of Kogi State, that is Alhaji Yahaya Bello, Governor Yahaya Bello. I saw him earlier, and other dignitaries are expected, and we start taking the roll call of them one by one. Former ministers and 7 ministers, and we said it earlier, according to our report, that the jostle will start to occupy the Federal Executive Council position as a minister. And who is in, who is out? Some people are going to be definitely retained, some are going to lose their job, and a lot of people will be reassigned, getting their ministries. So we've seen some former governors, I've seen governors today, and the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress is also at the VIP stand. That's Comrade Adams Aliu Oshomole.
Ayo, thank you for bringing us up to speed. We certainly will connect with you again to follow up with the developments at the ceremony. The inauguration is starting right away.
Definitely, and like he said, or like they said, an array of dignitaries, elder statesmen. You know, majority of persons there are already there, you know, present for the inauguration ceremony. So we should see activity